Hey guys, Mehrnush here from Ross IELTS Academy. In this video, we want to see the writing correction of one of our candidates in the Academy. This writing is a writing task 1 in general module, a formal letter. And we'll see what problems, what mistakes this candidate had or what mistakes the candidate made and the feedback on that, like how the candidate can boost her score in a very short time. But there are some things that you have to take into consideration before we move on to the video itself. In writing task 1, if you're taking the general module, you have to remember that you should always follow the correct paragraph structure. We will mention the paragraph structure in the video, but the more important thing is to cover the bullet points. One paragraph for each bullet point. This is what you should do. So you shouldn't mix them up all together in one paragraph for each. Another important thing is not to use the contractions, the short forms in the formal letter. Now, let's move on to watch the video to see what mistakes she made and how we can avoid these problems. You can always visit our website, which is www.rossielts.com, and you can also use our writing correction service. This will be really useful for you because it can boost your score in a short time. And that's what everybody wants, right? Now, let's move on.
First, we read the question statement and the bullet points to see what we were asked to write about, and then I start with the first paragraph of yours, okay? So it says, you have heard that a developer plans to build a shopping center near your home. Write a letter to the council. Okay, it says the council, it obviously shows that this is a formal letter. In your letter, say how you heard about the plan, explain how you feel about it, ask for more information about it. So, you have started your writing your letter like this. Dear Mr. Bernard, comma, I'm Ala Ahmadi, a resident of Star Tower in Montreal Street. Okay. And of course, I guess this sentence of yours was here, but I moved it here. So this was the rest of the first paragraph. You said, one of my neighbors told me this morning that the council is planning to build a shopping center close to our place. Now let's talk about the part that I just read. Okay, in the beginning you said, Dear Mr. Bernard, comma. That's totally correct. In the next paragraph, you should talk about the purpose of your letter only. You should say why you're writing this letter. And you have said, I'm Ala Ahmadi, a resident of Star Tower in Montreal Street. I have added this sentence talking about the reason why you're writing this letter. You should have said, for example, I am writing this letter with regard to a shopping center that is going to be built near my apartment. So, you have introduced yourself. That's fine. This is your first paragraph. But you should make sure to mention the purpose of your formal letter in the first paragraph only. This is the first paragraph. You should cover the first bullet point, which is asking you, say how you heard about the plan in the next paragraph. Why do I say that? I'm saying it based on here. Based on this. This is the structure for formal letter in IELTS writing. Dear sir or madam or dear anyone, if you know the name, comma. Next line, I am writing with regard to, I am writing this letter to tell you, to inform you, anything. Talk about the purpose of the letter. The next paragraph is only about the first bullet point, then another paragraph for the second one, another paragraph, a separate paragraph for the third bullet point. Finally, you say, kind regards, comma, or some alternatives for that, and your name. So this is the paragraph structure that you should use. So because of that, in the first paragraph, we only talked about the purpose of the letter. In the next paragraph, you're talking about the first bullet point. How you heard about the plan. One of my neighbors told me this morning that the council is planning to build a shopping center close to our place. This is about the paragraph structure, your first paragraph and your second paragraph here. Now your grammatical mistakes are highlighted in yellow. and your vocabulary, your lexical resource mistakes are highlighted in blue, and some explanations in pink after each paragraph about that paragraph. Let's now talk about the grammar and the vocabulary of these two paragraphs. In the first one, he said, I'm Ala Ahmadi. Okay, Ala. This is a formal letter, right? So you shouldn't use any contractions, any short form in it. In an informal letter, you can, but in a formal letter, you should only write the full form. So you say, I am Ala Ahmadi, a resident of Star Tower, because, it's a specific name, Star Tower, then Tower, T is also capital, like start, S. Okay, the next sentence I have added, and here you have a vocabulary problem. One of my neighbors told me this morning that the council is planning to build a shopping center. Actually, no. A developer plans to build a shopping center, and you're writing the letter to the council talking about that. So, a developer is planning to build a shopping center. So, we just went on based on the structure. Dear somebody, I'm writing with regard to, we talked about the purpose, we talked about the first bullet point, so now we should talk about the second bullet point. Let's do it. You have said, as you probably know, the Montreal Estate is known for its peaceful and nostalgic atmosphere. In fact, the thought of a new department being added to the region has made me worried and anxious. Very good. So you had a very clear topic sentence showing what you want to talk about. Before moving here, I was living in a beautiful apartment near a shopping complex. The amount of noise pollution was really disturbing, especially during the nights when I was planning to rest and relax. I'm afraid it will be the same after the development of the new center here. So, if I want to talk about your answer to the second bullet point, I can say that you have covered the second bullet point in this paragraph very well, because it was asking you to explain how you feel about it. And you clearly expressed your feeling. I feel anxious and worried because I had this experience before. And the biggest problem that I feel maybe it may happen with this case is the noise pollution. This is the biggest problem you have, and you're anxious and worried. And so the paragraph structure and how you developed the topic was really good. Now let's just talk about your grammatical and vocabulary mistakes. Only this one here, as I told you, no short forms. I am afraid. I'm afraid it will be the same after the development of the new center. You'd better say, I am afraid the same will happen. The same thing that happened in that case will happen again. The same will happen after the development. The spelling is wrong, so this is a lexical resource, a vocabulary problem. Development of the new center here. Great. So let's take a look at this one here again. We talked about the second bullet point. Now we should talk about the third bullet point. Let's see. Okay, the third bullet point is asking you, ask for more information about it. So now that you're writing a letter to the council, you should ask for more information about the shopping center that will be built, or about the problem that you may have, anything that you have mentioned before. So you have started your paragraph like this. This is your topic sentence. While I do realize that the council has always been supportive of us, the residents, I want to suggest having a spacious parking lot considered for the complex. One that wouldn't cause any issues for the people and families living close by. Lastly, I would like to ask you, as the head of the council, to inform us the details and also the official decisions that are made regarding the shopping center. Okay. The first thing that I should mention here, Alo, is that this sentence that I have underlined was here. It was a separate paragraph, but it's wrong. It should be here. Why? Because when you want to cover one bullet point, you should cover it in one paragraph and not two separate paragraphs. So it should all be here in one paragraph. This is the first thing. The second thing it says, give us more information about the shopping center or anything that you had mentioned before. This is a very good sentence. You are asking, so I would like to ask about the details and also the official decisions about the shopping center. This is a very good idea. But the problem here is about the coherence of your ideas. Why do I say that? You had mentioned in the previous paragraph that your main concern is the noise pollution. But in this paragraph, you have asked about parking lot as a solution to a problem. So you said, I'm afraid, or I'm really worried the same thing happens here because the noise pollution was really disturbing. So in the next one, you say, please add some parking lots. It doesn't make sense. If you have talked about one idea, or if you have mentioned one problem, then try to elaborate on the same thing. Don't jump from one idea to the other one, okay? Because it was not relevant. Like you said, noise pollution, now you say add some parking lots. What's the relation here? So this will negatively impact the coherence between the two paragraphs, right? So the part where you're asking for more information is okay, but before that, it doesn't make sense, as you had already mentioned something else here in the previous paragraph. Now to talk about your grammar and vocabulary problems. There was no lexical resource problem. Well done. Here just about the the grammar. You said, I want to suggest having a spacious parking lot considered for the complex. One that wouldn't cause any issues for the people and families living close by. Okay, this was a very long sentence. And from here, you want to give some extra information. And as you want to give extra information, it's better to use semicolon than to use comma. And here, lastly, I would like to ask you, as the head of the council, I have removed this one because it is not clear who you're talking about. If you say, I would like to ask you as the head of the council, it sounds like you, the writer of the letter, are the head of the council. For example, I say, I suggest you as your examiner. You say, okay, yes, she's talking about herself. So here, it sounds like you are the head of the council. Okay? And if you mean the person that you're talking to, still it is incorrect because you're not talking to the head of the council. In the question statement says, write a letter to the council. So stick to the words that you are asked to write about in the question. So don't risk it. I would like to ask you to inform us about the details and the decisions that are made regarding the shopping center. You should say the decisions that will be made regarding the shopping center. Why? Because it says, you have heard that a developer plans to build a shopping center. So it has not been built yet. It will be built in the future. So the decisions regarding that shopping center will be made or are being made. They are not made yet. It is not finalized. They are doing some stuff. So you'd better use it in future tense. So that's all about your writing. You talked about the purpose of your letter, your first bullet point, second bullet point, and third bullet point all together in one paragraph. Finally, you said kind regards, don't forget comma, and your name. Really good. Now to talk about your score. First, your word count was over 150 words, which is good. It was 195 words. In your task response, you got a 5. In your coherence and cohesion, you got a task response, you got a 7. Coherence and cohesion, you got a 5. In your lexical resource, you got a 6. Grammar 7. That would bring you an overall band score 6.5. But now I want to just explain a little why you got each of these scores. In your task response, you got a 7 because you were supposed to talk about the different bullet points, and you did. You gave you gave sufficient answer and explanations and examples. to the bullet points. And also, like, the tone that you were using was totally correct for the formal letter, just except for the contractions that you shouldn't have used. And there was a very clear purpose, and you just mentioned everything was fully extended. The only problem that you had with your task response was the part that actually the noise pollution and the parking lot part was not really relevant. But anyways, you gave the explanation on all the bullet points, and that was good. In your coherence and cohesion, you got a 5 because like throughout your different paragraphs, you had the paragraph structure problem, like here. The most important one was here. In the first paragraph, you shouldn't talk about the first bullet point. You should talk about the purpose of your letter. This is the first problem you had. In the second paragraph, you should elaborate on the first bullet point. And the last paragraph should be about the last bullet point, right? But yours was in 2 separate paragraphs, and that is wrong. And so this is all about your coherence and cohesion, and also the coherence problem here, these 2 ideas, right? The coherence problem you had. In your lexical resource, your vocabulary, you got a 6 because you were using an adequate range of words for the task, and there were some less common vocabulary that you were using. However, you had some problems with the word choice. For example, the council, which was a developer, not the council, or development, the spelling problem that you had. If you want to get a 7, then you should use more lexical items and collocations, and just be more careful with the range of the vocabulary that you are using. You are very, very close to getting a higher score, like a 7 in your vocabulary. You are very close. And in your coherence and cohesion, only because of the paragraph structure, you got a 5. You can easily get a 6 or 7 because you have a very good command of English. And in your grammar, you got a 7 because in your grammar, you were using a variety of complex grammatical structures, and most of your sentences were error-free, and you just had a few errors with with the contraction, the short form of the words, or writing it in full form, and of course punctuation, right? So because you had a few errors, then you got a 7. You can also get an 8 in your grammar. If you want to get an 8, then you should make less grammatical mistakes and punctuation mistakes, and use this range of complex structures more flexibly.
See, guys, if she had followed the correct paragraph structure, especially in the first and second paragraph, and she had made it a bit more clear what ideas she is referring to, and the paragraphs, one of the paragraphs with the other one was more related, then she could have gotten a better score in her writing this time because she had a very good command of English, right? And remember, you can always send us your writings to be corrected, because when we give you the written and video feedback, then you can get to know about your mistakes and you wouldn't repeat the same mistakes the next time. Thank you very much for watching this video, and you can visit our website to book your writing correction with us. Stay tuned and see you soon.